Hello, 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 everybody. How are we all tonight? Hope we are doing good. Okay. Uh, can't see me. There we go. Okay, so let's change this to live. Let's go over to here. Top 10 games for ColecoVision. I'm gonna have to watch that later. Okay, so go live according to fans. Okay, so we just want to share this out. Okay. Okay, so let's share out on X. And then we'll grab this and we'll share in Discord. And then we'll go into the on-air room. And then we'll show. There we go. Okay. Okay, so we're probably gonna draw a few different characters tonight. Just because the first couple that I have thought about, I think are going to be easy. Because the first one I have up, public domain characters, as I said. As it says, we're going to draw Betty Boop. Ba-doop, ba-doop, boop, boop. Ba-doop, ba-boop, boop, boop. Ba-doop, boop, boop. Ba-doop, ba-doop. So, yeah, there's not much to Betty Boop, of course. We have. Okay, so there is the first thing for Betty Boop. she definitely does have a weird stylized head. Hey, Metal, how are you? I just woke up like 5 minutes ago. So are you saying you're tired? But it's what is it? 5 or 4 where you are. No, I'm rested. Just got up later than planned. 4. Okay. So, in case you didn't hear, I'm drawing Betty Boop to start off with tonight. And
Hello, Rick.
hey, Fitzjozo, how are you?
What are you doing today?
I'm starting off with Betty Boop.
Okay. Oh, it's Betty Boop. Okay.
Which is, as you probably know, a very old character.
Now I know it's in public domain now.
Yeah. The original Poodle version or the more permanent human version?
But I think the human version is public domain too, because they had some human version sketches early on.
Well, I got 3 basic. I got 3 images. One's a black and white with the big head, big wacky head. And the rest of the body looks fairly normal looking. I can give a couple of images here that I have. This is the black and white one that I have.
Okay. Yeah, I managed to make another video today, so
Oh,
I managed to get through
that's good.
because it's fine. So sometimes hard to make videos, especially when like you just make a bunch of them. No one. I've been doing it for the past months, even like last year. Like I started this like late 2025. My second channel associated my pen name, and no one, yeah, but like make a bunch of videos like I barely gain views most of the time, like
I know what
so.
that's like. And then here's the other image that I'm working with. And this is the one that I'm going the main thing with at the moment. Almost the exact pose, but so. And then because I'll probably get her done fairly easy because she's a fairly simple character to work with. I
Hmm.
have a couple other characters. Moon Girl from EC Comics.
What? Oh,
Not
yeah,
Marvel's
Moon Girls. I mean,
not Marvel's more modern Moon Girl.
mm,
Let's see. Metal says the only real difference was she originally had a dog nose and droopy ears. Okay. She
because
was
she's really supposed to be another dog. So yeah.
she was made to be a love interest to Bimbo the dog, but outgrew him in popularity, so they changed her to a human for solo cartoons. Okay,
Mhm.
interesting. And I know I didn't get that. I'll bring that down.
Mhm.
Okay, so doo doo boop 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 boop. And then we got a couple of rings here. Uh,
Um. Uh, yeah. I'll probably have to go for a bit. I'll probably come back after I eat.
okay, no problem. I'm sure that's metal eating too, or will be eating soon. There we go. Now this Bimbo the dog, was it a real dog or was, well, comic book dog or an actual person? Metal. I might come on after I wake up some more. I gotta grab the mail and some other things. Okay. Hello. Hey, Shane. How are you? Been a while. How are you doing? Good. Yeah, I usually popping by as Space Gallery. I'm well, thank you. Yeah, yeah. For a second, I thought you were new with that name, but then I remembered that your real name, or however you want to say it, the name that I'm used to, and the connection. And hello, Pilfer Pop. Yo, Wednesday stream. Yes, nice. Thank you. Yeah, I've been doing Wednesday stream for a while now. I usually either do in public domain or independent characters. I should actually get you to send me your character, the character or two. Maybe next Wednesday I can do a few of your characters. Pilfer. Draw Lillaby. She's my sexiest character. He he. Well, yeah, I could do her. Maybe send me a few of them just in case I get done her fairly early. Cause tonight I'm doing Betty Boop, as you might be able to see here. Uh, Laugh out loud. Yeah, that sounds cool. Thanks. No problem. Poop poop doo doop. Okay, so we're gonna put the hair on her now. Her hair is a little. Little weird. Hey, it's the best I can do for my only patron. Although I do have now another way to donate to Cross Comics. I recently grabbed Square for conventions, and I got it so people online can donate to Cross Comics. The link is in the description. One, two. We're almost got Betty Boop done here. Well, not done. This is, of course, we're gonna go over this probably another time. I think Pupply is public domain as well. Possibly.
Hey, Rick.
Hey, Metal, how are you?
Still waking up.
Uh,
Had to go get the mail, had to go bring the bins in. Stuff that normally I would have had done long before now, but I don't normally wake up at 4 o'clock. Well, I say that. Lately, the mail's been coming much later, too, so I probably wouldn't have gotten that till 4 o'clock anyway. I don't know why it's been coming late. Even sometimes the recycle truck comes really late. I don't know what's up with them.
Maybe they're running on whatchamacallit time.
Well, we don't do daylight savings here, so nobody ever has to adjust to that.
Yes, Popeye is public domain. It looks like Fitzchozo.
Oh, the original? Yeah.
Yeah. Popeye the Sailor Man. He lives in a garbage can. He's strung to the finish because he doesn't eat the spinach. No. Fitzgerald says next week for public.
Smart guy.
Next week, Fitzgerald saying, for public domain Wednesday should be Tintin. How about 2 weeks? Because I was just talking to Pilfer Pop. Because Wednesdays are either public domain Wednesday or independent comic. Or independent creator or whatever comic. Independent character, basically. Wednesday. And Pilfer Pop, who is a my only patron, has a bunch of characters. More animal type-ish, I believe. Which is alright. So, I was thinking about doing his characters, a couple of his characters next week. You might want to make the hair a little bigger. Yeah, I was thinking
A lot
that.
bigger.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna make the image a little smaller so I can do that. But let's see. And hello, Mike. Yeah, I've been talking his ear off, says Pilfer Pop. Shane says, I didn't even know it mattered when drawing public domain. I'm not sure what you mean.
Public domain doesn't really matter when you're drawing fan art or whatever. This is just something Rick has decided to do.
Yeah, and I put it in the title just more to, hopefully draw people in, public that I'm
He's
drawing.
just trying to vary up what he does on each day of the week.
Yeah, so it's manga Mondays. Tuesday, I'm mashing up characters. Wednesday, it's either I'm doing public domain or independent. Thursday, of course, is the silhouette game. Friday, I don't do anything because, well, I work till 7 and then I go to something. And then Saturday mornings, I'm coloring up my comic book. One of my comic books. So. And then Sunday, I don't do anything for thing. Although, actually, what I gotta do, I might get it together. I've finished coloring the piece that Jimmy Reyes did, the box office artist.
Nice.
I want to make, and I recorded myself coloring that, so I gotta put that down to about 5 minutes and do a talk over. I might release that sometime Friday. Okay, so let's make this a little smaller. A little bit more in the center there. Bring it down. So we have enough space to redo the hair. And I think I did this one side over a little bit too much. Is that? It is. Hopefully I can. Well, I don't. I can just.
Betty Boop's a character I drew a lot when I was younger.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. My cousin Sherry was really into her.
Yeah. I think I maybe seen a few of her cartoons at a theater or something like that, drive-in or whatever, but I was not really into her.
Yeah. You probably would have liked the original cartoon she came from. Right, because like Bimbo, the dog was more like slapstick, classic cartoon in that style. But a lot of its stuff was like really dark, considerably for the time. Right, even the cartoon that Betty Boop was introduced in, Bimbo was like going through this house that was like this huge manor that was ran by a cult that kept trying to get him to join, and it was like this almost like LSD horror trip until finally he caved in. And then when the people took their robes off in the cult after he joined it, they were all just like this very attractive Betty Boop. And he's like, oh, well, I made the right choice.
Now, is Bibbo the dog an actual dog or?
Yes. Like he's a small little dog.
Okay.
That's why I said like Betty Boop was originally a poodle to be his love interest. So the only real difference between her old design and her current one that you're drawing that has been her design forever is that she used to have like long droopy ears to be like a poodle, and she had like a little black dog nose. That's it. That's the only thing they had to change about her. And she even still kind of has a remnant of it because she has those big hoop earrings where her droopy ears used to be.
Okay. That's unusual. I guess they didn't change. That's why they didn't change the face too much, I guess.
Yeah, she still kind of has like the same head design. But she was only in that form for a very brief time because she quickly outgrew the original cartoon in popularity, so they started making Betty Boop cartoons instead.
Uh,
Great stuff to watch, though. Highly recommended if you never have.
yeah, I don't think I have actually. Well, like I said, I might have seen some when I was really younger. At like the drive-in or whatever.
Yeah. If this is, I bet most people have already forgotten Evil Ernie. Yeah, everybody has.
I haven't because you brung them up so many times. I know that's bad. Okay. That dress is just weird the way it goes on.
It's not that weird. What are you talking about? It's just a low back dress.
Yeah, I get that. It's just this one curve here. I guess, and then I gotta curve it out. And does that look right? Oh, am I showing in Discord or not?
Yeah, you're showing in Discord. I could see it.
That might be a
Well,
little...
okay. You definitely want the arm coming over the back, but basically, after you have the dress established, this is how you draw Betty Boop. because you want to use the dress to actually define like her waist and lower torso. All right, so you want to make the dress line first, and then you want to make the curve from the back to the underarm. That's how you want to do it.
Okay. Then
Because even though she's not wearing one, she kind of almost has like a corseted body, the way she's drawn. So you almost want to treat her like lower torso like it's a stiff unit that kind of like pivots on her waist. Because that's even the way they kind of like animated her, is that like the top part of her waist, the upper torso, kind of just pivoted on the waist part. So you'd get like this really obvious like woman hip movement when she walked around. And because she's like an old cartoon, you want to feel more comfortable coming to sharp angles at certain parts instead of just like curving things. Which I see that you're doing in the underdress, because her dress comes to a bunch of sharp angles on the inside.
yeah, I've got an image up here of her almost in this exact same pose.
Yeah, no, I see the image. Yeah.
Yeah.
Joshua says Betty Boop is like the OG anime waifu with the big head and big eyes. Oh yeah, she was tons of people's waifu. They would kind of point that out in Who Framed Roger Rabbit when she's like working at the club as like a waitress, and Eddie was like, Betty Boop, you know, I used to love you. And it's like, and everybody's there for Jessica Rabbit because like nobody is really into an old dame like her anymore.
Does that look decent enough?
I mean, it looks a little better than it was before. I could say that.
I guess that's good. I could do another pass and make it hopefully look a little bit better. Not that I'm done with this pass yet, but because that's what I've been doing lately, as you may have noticed. Get certain things down, do a pass.
Listen, I don't know if I need to be somebody complaining about anatomy when Betty Boop is involved, but the designers of Betty Boop definitely had a stronger grip on anatomy despite making her like this crazy cartoon shape. Because at least things connect when where they're supposed to connect.
Fitz says anime art style is an evolution of Betty Boop.
Well, it's all a handshake from each other, right? Like, because you could go all the way back to the earlier, like Fleischer cartoons, which inspired Tezuka. He's even said himself that he was inspired by those type of things, and like Japan, France, and America were all circularly like giving each other a handshake when it came to inspiration on how their different animations and stuff inspired each other. You know, they didn't live in a vacuum.
Yeah. Well, especially, you see, one country's got this animation, it's going to make it around to other countries just because it's the newest thing. I think that's,
Yeah.
it's then going to influence that country's animation a little bit. And that for every new animation, that happens even more and more.
Mm-hmm.
Till there's, some sort of divergence.
Oh yeah, like at least in the mid to late 20th century, Disney was one of the biggest inspirations to art style for a lot of like manga artists. And you could see it because a lot of their head shapes were very, very similar to like the pre-Renaissance or Disney Renaissance specifically, not the actual thing we call the Renaissance, but like stuff from the Xerox era of Disney, where you've got things like Sword in the Stone, 101 Dalmatians and stuff, and
Yeah.
then even as things got further on to like a lot of the face shapes and things like the Little Mermaid aren't that different than stuff that was going on in like anime at the time. And that was the stuff they really liked. They really liked those styles of animation. So obviously you'd still get some things different with different artists who have different interests. But if we're talking about like total trends, those are the stuff you tend to see.
Yeah.
It's always, I find it really funny that one of the things people used to make fun of, say, like manga art styles was like how big the head and eyes were, while at the same time possibly even being in a room where the Little Mermaid was playing. I'm like, do you see how big Ariel's eyes are compared to her head? It's like, is this like an actual criticism that you have of it, or you just don't like it because it's Japanese? Like, I like that Disney even kept a lot of that stylization when they tried to still do movies that were in their line later on, like Tangled and Frozen. But they haven't really done something like that in a while. Despite
Yeah.
I'm back. I'm back, everybody. I'm back, Rick, and Meadows also here.
I'm not here. You can ignore me.
Anyways,
Which we never do.
anyways, I notice how nobody remembers the 70s and 80s Disney movies, the Disney animated film.
What?
I mean,
Like Lady and the Tramp? Lady and the Tramp,
Or
101
the Great
down.
Mouse Detective, the Rescuers.
Dude, I love
Yeah.
Rescuers,
Sword in
especially
the
the
Storm.
Rescuers Down Under. Rescuers Down Under is a great film.
I
Yeah.
never saw Down Under. I saw the first one. I saw the first one.
Well, I remember them. Unfortunately, I don't go back and watch them as much as I probably should or whatever. I know I probably saw most of them growing up, and I liked them.
Yeah. Joshua brings up a good point too. People said the same thing about Sonic having big hands and gloves, even though Mickey Mouse is the same. Sonic was specifically designed to look like an American cartoon character. Like that was their goal
I know, right?
when designing the character. Because the guy who was like one of the founders of Sega was an American businessman who moved to Japan, and he's like, this would be the way to get like Americans interested in the project. And yeah, you have people who don't even realize that. Like, oh man, look at this stupid looking Japanese character that looks absolutely nothing like all the stuff that we have over here.
Yet, became super popular.
Yeah. Also, he passed away recently.
Who?
The American co-founder of Sega.
Didn't know.
I think like last month. So rest in peace to that guy.
Yeah.
It was David Rosen was his name. No, it wasn't last month. Actually, it was a few months ago. It was December 25th. He actually died on Christmas.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, somebody's got to die on Christmas, right?
Yeah, it happens. Tons of people do. Thankfully, it wasn't because he was alone and took his own life, like is how a lot of people end up dying on Christmas.
Yeah.
He was just old. He was just a really old guy. He was born in 1930.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was basically a month shy of completing the birthday too.
Mhm.
A great guy. He was the reason why um, Sega was even half as successful and why they even made any ground in the States because he understood how like business worked over here and what was interesting to people. And he was like, yeah. We're gonna hire an actual marketing team in America to sell this stuff. And then he got too old to actually do anything at Sega, and they started going downhill pretty quick.
Yeah, I know. Like the later two consoles, like the Sega Dreamcast especially did not do well.
None of the Sega consoles actually did very well, but yeah, the Dreamcast
But,
did worse than any of them.
yeah, but didn't Genesis do well?
Not really. I mean, it did well enough, right? But if you actually look at the sales of any Sega console, it was always lagging behind the rest of the industry. But it did well enough until there was too much competition. And then, yeah, the Dreamcast did worse than any of their systems did.
Mm-hmm.
What? The Sega Saturn didn't do too good either, did it?
No.
Yeah, but of course, Nintendo and Sega both started out, I believe, as just video game companies, or maybe they did something before that.
Nintendo was a toy company. Nintendo's like over 100 years old.
Okay, because I just remember seeing them up, for ColecoVision and Atari, the games coming up made by Nintendo, like Donkey
Yeah.
Kong, really.
Nintendo was founded in 1889.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they basically what they used to do is they were a small toy company where their warehouse, like where they actually made everything, was basically the same building as their storefront. It was just a small storefront building with like a sales desk in the front where people could buy things, and then people working in the back. And they specialized in like Hanafuda cards, which is a type of like playing card with a bunch of like face characters on it. It'd be like if the whole the deck was like made out of kings, queens, and jacks. It would take way too long to actually explain how to play Hanafuda, but it's that type of game where you could play with a single deck with a bunch of people.
Okay.
Right. That's what they started with. They made some other toys and stuff. They got into capsules around when capsules started becoming popular. But they have a history. They've been around for well over 100 years.
What about
It's also one of the
Sega?
reasons why they will probably never go out of business, even if they don't do well for up to a decade, because they just have so much money in the bank.
What about Sega?
Well, Sega was more recently. I told you because that guy was involved in it. That was about 1960. And Sega, I believe, was always involved in electronics.
Yeah, because, like I said, I remember them and Nintendo.
Coin-operated amusement machines was what they started with.
Because I think, and I could be wrong, I think Sega and Nintendo definitely made a lot of games for the ColecoVision, maybe Atari as well.
Nintendo, I don't think Nintendo made a lot for those things. Similar to Sega, Nintendo, when they got into video games, they got into coin-op, right? So like arcade machines and stuff, because they were already working in Gachapon, which is like the turnstile capsules. That's where we get the word gotcha from today, for like gotcha games and everything. They were already working with coin-op stuff, so they went directly to the arcade. And they did actually have a pretty early game console. I think it was like in 76 or whatever, called the Nintendo TV system, which was like a plug-and-play thing. You just plugged it directly into the TV. It wasn't as complex as the NES was afterwards, or the Famicom in Japan. But they were mostly working on arcades. Like the big thing that got Nintendo from kind of working on video games in the coin-op area to going all in on video games was there's a very popular Popeye game that they distributed, but then they lost the rights to Popeye. So then you have this like really brilliant designer. You might know him as Miyamoto Shigeru, right? Or we could say Shigeru Miyamoto over here. Took the machine, went into it, reassembled it because you had to actually design games in assembly back then, which means you had to design it directly to the chip, like to the system itself. And he basically redesigned the game where Popeye has to platform to save olive oil from Bluto into what we know as Donkey Kong.
Okay. So Donkey Kong. So Mario literally started off as Popeye.
Yes. Which is also why, even to this day, Mario's still a very similar character to Popeye, like the way he operates. Even like, Popeye gets stronger when he eats spinach. Mario gets stronger when he eats a mushroom. There's a lot of similarities with the characters that just never went away. And I don't think they want them to, because they kind of want the homage and inspiration to stay relevant.
Yeah, although I don't think it, until you told me that, I never really thought about it.
Mm-hmm. And then they basically just followed suit, copied the chip, and they redistributed it across all of their Popeye machines, slapping a new logo on top of it, onto the arcade cabinet, which had Jumpman, the girl, and Donkey Kong. Those were the only names they had at the time. Mario didn't get his name until they made a follow-up series, because I think Donkey Kong Jr. Had already come out before the actual game Mario Brothers did. So he was still Jumpman and Donkey Kong Jr. But then Mario Brothers comes out, and that's where he gets his name. And then the other player, they just called Ruigi. Which means like the same in Japanese, which Japanese R's and L's are kind of like the same character. They are the same. So if you take Ruigi and you say it with like an L, because the character can be translated that way, you also have the Italian name Luigi, and that's why his brother's name is Luigi. But it was Ruigi because he was a palette swap. That was the reason.
So Luigi just the green Mario.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and in the first game in Mario Brothers, like he said, palette swap. You couldn't tell any difference in height or whatever. It's not till even in.
It was Mario Brothers 2, which is actually a reskin of a different game, but that's where Luigi gets his height.
Yeah.
In Super Mario Brothers 2.
Yeah.
Not Mario Brothers 2, which there actually is a Mario Brothers 2. So I think it never came here to the States.
No, I don't remember it.
I think you only get it in like some arcade compilations. But yeah, there's the Super Mario Brothers. And in Super Mario Brothers 2, not the Japanese Super Mario Brothers 2, which is just we call it Super Mario Brothers: The Lost Levels here, because it's the exact same as the first game. It's made out of the first game, but they made more difficult levels that you could play. They just reassembled things. The second game was a game that Miyamoto and crew made for Japan called Doki Doki Panic, and because Mario 2 was never brought over to the States, they're like, oh, well, this is more different than the first game. Let's just reskin it as Super Mario Brothers 2. So they sold that to us here, and that's the one where Luigi's taller, Toad is playable, Princess Toadstool is playable.
Yeah.
A lot of the characters start to get their distinct differences from each other.
Yeah, defining characteristics.
Mm-hmm.
We got Victorioso here and saying, don't forget to like and subscribe. Yes. Don't forget to.
Speaking of franchise video game franchises, you consider the Fallout TV show to be a show about torture?
I don't consider anything about the Fallout TV show. I couldn't tell you.
No, because I still haven't watched it. I probably never will.
You
But
probably know more about it than I do.
but the reason why I'm asking is because because people keep saying Made in the Abyss is about child torture. The messed up stuff that happens in Made in the Abyss also happens in the Fallout TV show. So I don't get it.
Can't really talk much about either.
No, I think more messed up stuff happens in the boys, but I can't really tell. I don't. So I'm like, I wouldn't consider Made in the Abyss a show about torture, considering that I just said that the messed up stuff a natural extension of the premise because it's about a bunch of kids going down a supernaturally cursed pit to fight a bunch of fantastical creatures and occasionally some psychopaths.
Yeah. And Victorioso, don't forget to share as well.
I'm not going. I'm not going to
Victorious.
Victorious.
I wasn't surprised that this gruesome stuff happening in Made in the Abyss.
So what do you think of my Betty Boop medal? Hey, taquito saucer.
It's looking better than it did before.
No, it looks pretty good. It looks almost exactly like the old 30s show, the old 30s short.
Yeah.
You gotta.
Yeah, I could do another pass, but I don't really want to at this point. Taquito Sauce says, I'm gonna set up a camera one day. I like drawing to your streams. Oh, well, that's good. Yes, Taquito Sauce is somebody I've met in real life a couple times. Taquito Sauce says, your Betty Boop looks fire. Hopefully we can get Taquito Sauce to maybe one day we might be able to get him on some Cross Comics books.
Boop boop be doop.
So what I have two other characters that I was possibly gonna do, depending on time, and see which ones people want me to do. We have Moon Girl by EC Comics, so not the more modern one by Marvel, so it looks a lot different. Looks a lot different than that one. And then Atomic Mouse.
I think you should scrap both of those ideas. You should keep on theme, and you should draw Bimbo the dog.
Okay.
Oh, because you just drew Betty Boop. You might as well stay in the zone.
Taquito says, say the word, and I'm ready to draw for Cross. Lots of people are. I just wish I had the money. Taquito Sauce is saying, Atomic Mouse. Well, maybe we'll go with Metal suggestion. And saying keep on a little bit of brand. I'll have to get a few pictures. What was that character's name again?
Bimbo.
Bimbo? The dog?
Yep.
There's also a deer character named Bimbo who was created as a knockoff of Bambi for that Simba King Lion show made in
There's a
North
lot of
Korea.
characters named Bimbo.
If you don't know, Simba King Lion was like this really bad cartoon from North Korea. Well, I think it's a co-production between North Korea and Italy, where he was trying to rip off Lion King, Bambi, and Jungle Book simultaneously. Simultaneously, they just kind of replace Scar with Shere Khan, and then the Simba and Bimbo get powers, get supernatural powers, and beat up Shere Khan. Then it just goes off the rails from there, and just they start introducing like knockoff Power Rangers from a Snow White dimension or something. And from like this fancy that like in they go to one point they see up to another world, and there's this like a magical kingdom that looks kind of like Zelda or something, and then there's these Power Rangers there. So it goes off the rails at a certain point.
There you go, Rick. I sent you the like original model sheet for Bimbo
Okay.
because it has different expressions, but it actually is the breakdown of his form, which should help you draw him easier.
Yeah, I got a couple of these images in what I did there, so. But
the word
yeah,
Bimbo is actually Italian. That's where he gets his name from, and a lot of similar characters who end up getting the same name, which kind of means boy or small child. And he gets his name because he's a really small dog compared to everyone else, right? Like everybody is taller than him, so he looks like a child.
oh no, I was gonna say, Fitzgerald, put for the character you were suggesting, just make sure to put that in whatchamacallit after comment section after the.
But it's technically slang. I believe it actually comes from the word bambino, which literally means kid, a male kid in Italian. But bambino is a long word, so people just say bimbo. It's also where the if you're like, man, this sounds like a ditzy girl, that's where that word comes from too. It's the same bimbo. Because when people started calling like really airheaded ditzy girls bimbos, it's because it's like you're acting like a child. Just like if you're confused, like why would they call a cartoon character bimbo? The use for his name predates the modern use of that, but it's for the exact same reason. There's also, I mean, maybe it came about for a similar reason, though I believe the Spanish company is referencing Italians. They're both Latin languages. There is a Bimbo brand bread that you can find if you're in any like the border states, because it's in Mexico, and there were several different names that they were going for, but then somebody said bimbo because it's like a cute sounding word, and like yes, we'll go with that. And they've got like a little bear on the cover, and it's really good. It's sweetbreads. It's like snack breads. You know, you buy them in like convenience stores.
Okay.
That is your language history lesson for the week. There you go.
So yeah, we'll be doing the kaiju one tomorrow for Silhouette Game.
I suggested that.
Yes, you did. I know the first two rounds will be easy. After that, I'm not sure. Because I have no idea what ones people know of and what ones don't.
I just want to watch so I can get a grasp of what Rick thinks a kaiju is.
A giant monster.
Yeah.
Not
But like,
Star
there's the
City.
obvious ones, but then he's gonna have to start going into further territory. So I want to see what, like, in Rick's mind, what is and isn't a kaiju.
Like I just looked up kaiju, so and of course I went off with a couple other things that people suggested to here. I'm not going to say what, but like I said, list of kaiju. Now I think the most thing I got, of course, was Godzilla monsters,
Yeah.
and trying to get
Obviously.
much beyond that. I think was a little hard, but
No, it's not hard. Just other kaiju movie franchises like Amira and stuff. So
then again, I could be having other ones from different things, and I wouldn't know whether they were from Godzilla or from something else.
I mean, you can
Either.
look. You can go to the individual wikis for these different franchises.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I get what he's saying, because if you're uninitiated, right? Like, if I were to show a random monster from Gamera to not my dad, because he actually knows that stuff. My mom, if she was still around, she would be like, "Is that from Godzilla?"
Yeah, and
Or
that's
or she might think, "Is that like one of your Power Ranger monsters?" Because I used to be into Power. That would be like her other jump to.
well, it depends on how goofy it looked. Power Ranger monster would be the goofy ones.
But Gamera's got some pretty goofy ones. At times, it's not as, I think, thematically clean as Godzilla was. But a part of that was because Gamera had to compete against Godzilla at the same time, so sometimes they had to come up with some more unique looking monsters. Gamera's cool.
But I was just thinking, like, if you had something like if you had something like I'm trying to think of a very violent franchise with monsters. If you had like something like something like Dead Rising, and then you made the main character a child, would that suddenly become controversial?
It depends, like, what happened to the child. Actually, you know, it's a better one. Take the more modern Resident Evil games, right? Like, put a child
Mm-hmm.
in Ethan's place, right? Where, like, Ethan gets his arm lopped off and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would find that controversial. There'd be a lot of people who would
Oh,
enjoy it, but
okay.
people
Oh,
outside of
okay.
the main player base, people definitely would.
Yeah.
Like, why
Okay.
are you
Exactly.
torturing this child?
I know exactly because exactly because that's well that's the vibe I'm kind of getting from Made in Abyss because the show itself isn't that extreme compared to what normally happens to adults in these type of
No,
situations,
Made in Abyss is just
but
like
Hmm.
semi-dark fantasy version of like Journey to the Center of the Earth.
exactly. Exactly. So that's the thing. So I'm not surprised by it, but the thing is most people are shocked by it because of the content, but the content isn't even
I
that
think
more extreme.
more
Like
people viscerally react to the fans of it than the actual thing because most people have never actually engaged in it for even like a chapter or an episode.
yeah, I'm all caught up on the manga. But I think the most recent, not quite sure. I think the most recent chapter just came out.
Yeah,
Still
I
got to
wouldn't
read that.
like blame them though because Made in Abyss has some pretty vocally annoying fans.
But I'm like, yeah, because like I said, I think I mentioned this on stream before. I know a person who refuses to watch that yet somehow likes gushing over magical girls, which is kind of odd.
Well, I mean, I don't really care, but you know.
No, that's kind of hypocritical.
Yeah, well, that's life.
No, because like, well, or is violence somehow worse than sexual assault? Well,
Well, depending on who you ask, that is violence.
no, I'm talking about it's gruesome. It's having a guy, a mad scientist mutilate kids and put it and stuff them in boxes worse than worse than what happens in Gushing Over Magic Girls. Like I don't know. And that mad
I
scientist is the
tell you, I
villain.
don't really watch either.
That
Yeah.
mad scientist is the villain. And we're supposed to root for serial sex offenders in that show. So I'm like, and Gushing
It's
Over Magic
also
Girls. So I'm like,
maybe I'll talk for Rick, but given the nature of Rick's comics and channel, I don't know if this is particularly the type of conversation that should be on Rick's channel.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. So, but uh,
Well,
uh,
there is my
uh,
first pass at Bimbo.
doesn't
You know what? I
doesn't
think
look
your
the
first
best.
pass on him is better than your first pass on Betty Boop. So
Yeah.
Doesn't look the best, but still decent.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I forgot to do on the separate layer in the actual first pass. Because, well, it might be first and second pass because I, did do my quote
the
unquote
skeleton.
skeleton. And I started doing it on the same drawing around
How
it.
many? I want to ask how many kaiju franchises are there? As I'm thinking about, like I'm like
Oh God.
outside Power Rangers and Ultraman. There got to be other film franchises based around kaiju in
There
Japan.
are tons, right? Like
Yeah.
there were a lot of things that not just like knockoffs of Godzilla, which there are tons of those. There's also tons of knockoffs of like Power Rangers. After because Super Sentai and Kamen Rider are made by the same guy, not even like
Of
5 years
course,
apart from each other. That franchise, or both of them, technically they're two different franchises, but you can kind of lump them together because they're the same creator. Got so popular that tons of other people tried to make knockoffs of that, right? So there's a bunch of like Sentai Team series that happened over the years, and a lot of them also involved fighting like giant monsters. But then even in like the animated form, like Voltron fights giant space monsters, which are also kaiju. It's like as long as there is a team of people fighting very weird monsters, it'd be more to say like how many of these type of shows aren't kaiju? That'd probably
Gundam's
be an
definitely
easy
Yeah.
not.
list.
Gundam's
Yeah,
just
because
about
Gundam's more
mech.
from mech to mech.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
But
They're hardly
Gundam's
barely even.
also not like a. They are a team, but they wouldn't fall into like the same type of genre.
Now
They're not they're not a super sensitive superhero team.
here's a
They're
question.
mostly
Here's a
Mhm.
question.
yeah.
Does Mecha Godzilla is that considered a kaiju?
Yes.
Okay.
The species is autonomous, right? There's nobody inside Mechagodzilla operating him.
I thought there was somebody controlling it.
There is.
Maybe.
Depending on which one. It varies.
There's also a lesser known Mecha Kong, apparently, that King Kong fought once in one of his own movies.
Uh,
Heck, even Gatchaman has a few kaiju in it.
No, but like any like I talk about like film franchises where kaiju is the main focus of it. It's like I said, films specifically, not TV shows.
Mhm.
Because TV shows you can have what kaiju in an episode, something like Power Rangers, something like Kamen Rider. but no one's gonna remember any of those kaiju's.
I mean, some of them are like if you were a fan of, say, like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which is based off of like Dino Zyuranger, which I think is like the 7th Sentai franchise, but it was the first one for us. Goldar, who was like the right hand man of Rita Repulsa, would show up several times, and like everybody remembers Goldar.
Oh, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, but most of those, yeah, most Sentai shows literally a kaiju every episode. Like I know that's literally the formula. They fight a bunch of Power Rangers, fight a bunch of putties. The main henchman turns into a kaiju, and then they have to fight form the Megazord in order to kick his ass.
But
and
it
then
sounds like
that's
you're looking for things like there was a film trilogy called Daimajin, which was a Japanese tokusatsu series where there's like this giant warrior god. Right, and I think the most popular one was the second one, Wrath of Daimajin. But it was a 3-part. No, it was a trilogy. You're looking for stuff like that. The problem is there's just too many, and a lot of similar to what you're talking about with the Power Ranger enemies. A lot of them just aren't that memorable. Like if you're not, even in Japan, if you're not like a particular fan of these type of movies, like you just don't know about them.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing is, like, I guess in some ways I never really considered Power Ranger thing enemies, kaiju before, but
I mean,
yeah, but
they are, but they're disposable. They're so we don't even remember them. They're so disposable to the point. They're so disposable to the point you don't even remember them because they die every episode.
Most of them, they do Monster of the Week, but almost every single series will have like a few of them that are recurring or memorable. Even Mighty Morphin had a couple, right? Oh God, I can't remember his name specifically, but the skeleton guy who became Goldar. It was something Rito Repulso. I think it was supposed to be like Rita's brother.
Yeah.
He showed up a couple times. Revolto, that was it. Rito Revolto. He was a recurring one during the second season of it. Scorpina was a recurring one too.
I thought Scorpina was wasn't she her own character replaced the Rita one?
No.
Taquito
was in Mighty Morphin.
Okay. Maybe I'm confusing my characters.
Wait, I still haven't got that far in Sailor Moon. Since the last time we talked, I still never found time to watch it because I'm grinding these videos out. But did Sailor Moon fight kaiju? Or
technically, she fights like normal sized ones, but yes, occasionally the way that like the people's souls and stuff mutate, you would classify them as like lesser sized kaiju.
Okay, because I know Sailor Moon doesn't perfectly copy the formula of Super Sentai, even though it's partially on there.
It pretty much fights them in their like street level form. They don't ever go to like the monster transforms or anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Taquito says my fridge sees me as a kaiju in the middle of the night.
Oh yeah, Taquito sauce raids again. Which is my favorite Godzilla movie, is Godzilla Raids Again. I love Godzilla Raids Again. That's the one with Anguirus in it. It's my favorite Godzilla monster. I'm really upset. It looked like that was the direction that they were going to go with the MonsterVerse. But instead of actually giving us Godzilla raids again, they're like, no, it's just Godzilla versus Kong now.
And Godzilla and Kong team up to fight whatever.
Yeah, it's very boring. I mean, the idea the first time having both of them fight Mechagodzilla together, that's fine. Like, I was not bored of that movie when I saw it in theaters. But
and they don't seem
them
like
only working together is boring.
Especially since they kind of blew Ghidorah in the second movie. So
Yeah.
they blew the Ghidorah lower early.
Yeah, the second
Like,
movie should have been Godzilla Raids Again, and you should have built up to Ghidorah. Like, I don't know.
Plus, what do you do? What do you even do with the other kaiju? Like what do you do with Mothra? What do you do with Rodan? I don't know. What do we even do with those other kaiju? Like I don't get it.
That's why the Godzilla -1 was just way better than anything the MonsterVerse did, and I am excited for the next one.
So will it be Godzilla -2 or +1?
I think they're actually calling it like Godzilla -0, which I know might not make any sense mathematically, but I think that's what they're calling it. Yes, it is called Godzilla -0.
Okay, when's that supposed to come out? Because I think I saw the -1. And I think I liked it.
It's supposed to be this year, if it comes out on time, around November. Oh, I loved -1.
When King of the Monsters coming out, even I was confused about like, wait, you already doing Ghidorah, huh? Like why did they make that decision?
Also, King of the Monsters is like the first Godzilla film in
I'm talking about
the franchise. No, I know. Like, so it's like you made the second one the name of the first one, when you probably should have been doing King of the Monsters stuff in the first Godzilla film that you made, and not using like, yeah, because Ghidorah is like the ultimate Godzilla villain. There's very few, like Space Godzilla is about on that level as well, but you have like very, very few villains that are like that level. Like I'm completely with you here. It was mind blowing that they decided to jump straight to him.
It's like huh? Like because there's nothing else to do now. Like what there's no epic more threat more epic than that. So
unless they make up a totally new threat.
Or I guess, or they bring in Space Godzilla.
But that's kind of that'll be seen as lame by American audiences.
Yeah.
So they had to make up a new kaiju called the Scar King, where he's like an evil version of King Kong or something, or just like it's like an evil orangutan dude who oppresses other apes or something.
Or like I said, they make up.
Always...
They could just come up with, like I said, a totally new character.
Well, that's what he said. That is a new character.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, like, I want to like the MonsterVerse. I really do, because I like Godzilla. I even like King Kong.
Oh.
Like, I like these characters. I want to like it. And they do some cool stuff in there, but every single time they do something cool, they also do a bunch of lame stuff at the same time that makes me like, I can kind of enjoy your movie, but I can't love it. You know, like the first Godzilla they did, where they're like, "Oh, cool, Bryan Cranston's gonna be a main character," and then they kill him in like the first third of the movie. And I was like,
he dies.
why?
That's the start of the movie, but early on in the movie. So
yeah, it's like, I love Bryan Cranston.
I didn't
Why'd
really
you kill
care
him
because I
off?
had no. But I didn't really care at the time what the I saw it when I was like a kid because I didn't have any attachment to who the hell Bryan Cranston was. I saw him in Malcolm in the Middle. That's it. He's the guy from Malcolm in the Middle to me.
Well, he will also always be the guy from Malcolm in the Middle for me, even though I've seen him in tons of other things. It's just I don't know if he's ever had a role better than Hal. Hal was a great character.
Most people just know him as Heisenberg. So
I was know him as he was in the Macross Plus movie dub. He was in a few different anime dubs like way back in the day.
Metal,
like
there's a
movies and
question
stuff.
for you in the chat from Alpha.
Oh, how do I feel about the Hollow Earth concept? I think that's fine. Like I don't have any problem with that. That could be cool. They could have explored that more. They really didn't explore it more. They went down there, but it was like set dressing. They didn't actually deal with the concept much. At least in Godzilla versus Kong, I haven't really followed anything after that for like pre-production for the next movie or anything like that. But I think it's fine. I think it does help explain like maybe where some of these creatures could have been for all of these like millions of years since they should have been extinct and stuff like that. There's plenty of room in the Earth
They basically just
for
pulled the Ice
hollow
Age
Earth
free.
areas. Yeah.
Mm.
My big thing is power scaling, right? Because at one point, Godzilla just like uses his radiation blast and just drills a hole from the surface all the way down to the hollow Earth, which even the way they enter it, it's almost like going into another dimension, even though it's clearly in the Earth. But just like the sheer amount of power that Godzilla would have needed to drill like that, I'm like, that guy could just blast a hole right through the moon if he wanted to.
Okay, duh. But well, it probably will become some Dragon Ball Z level stuff at some point.
Maybe early Dragon Ball.
And Alpha says Bryan Cranston voiced a lot of Power Ranger monsters. That is
Yes.
why Billy, the blue Mighty Morphin Power Ranger, got his last name. Same with Tommy Oliver, getting a voice actor Tommy Oliver Rick Hunter name. Or Tone Oliver. Or did he mean Tommy Oliver?
This is
Also-
Tony. Tommy Oliver
also,
was the
this-
name of the Green Ranger here,
Oh.
Jason David Frank's character.
Yeah, I knew
Tony
that.
Oliver is the voice actor.
Of Rick Hunter from Macross.
Yeah.
Because I know the Monarch. I hadn't watched any of the Monarch Legacy of Monsters
haven't either.
TV show.
I think
But,
season
but
2 just
dude-
came out like earlier this year.
I think it just came out. Something. It released episodes weekly. But I asked, should you think the MonsterVerse should make a Mothra standalone film, or is that just they probably never do something like that?
I think they should. I actually do think they should. I don't know. Okay, if they hire the right writers, they should. I don't know with who they have working on it now that they should, because they'd probably just make it bad. I do think people would show up to a standalone Mothra film. Probably not to the same degree if people would show up for a Godzilla film. But there are tons and tons of like monster movie fans that would just watch a Mothra film. It maybe risk taking. It might be better to have that one go straight to streaming. I would hate that because I prefer watching these movies on the big screen. That's the way they're like built to be watched. But I can understand from like their risk reward to wanting to send something like that directly to streaming.
Yeah, or what about, is Gamera a monster in
No, Gamera's a complete.
Gamera's not even from Godzilla's. Its own separate franchise.
Different studio owns Gamera.
Okay, see, I
not
didn't
Toho.
even know. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
He's not Toho out.
I thought it was. Alfred says he never cared for Mothra as a solo character. So there's Bimbo, the dog.
Yeah, that looks like Bimbo.
So let's. Not sure whether we have time to, but what's his name voted for Atomic Mouse earlier. So maybe I'm not sure whether we have time to do Atomic Mouse. Alpha says, I never thought I would live to see the day where Cross is on stream drawing bimbos.
Yeah, the funny
Now I
thing is,
understand.
depending on how he uses that word, that could apply to both characters
Yeah.
that you drew so far.
Taquito Sauce says, let's go Bimbo, my goat. Because most people think of the word bimbo as in some dumb blonde.
Mm-hmm.
So
Not necessarily blonde, but a lot of them do go blonde now.
some dumb woman, anyways, at least.
Yeah.
A blonde woman. So as he's saying, he never thought he'd see the day there and I'd be drawing bimbos. Of course, I believe he's referring to jokingly there, dumb blonde
Yeah,
women.
yeah.
But, there's a lot of dumb blonde women in comics too, so. Or dumb women in comics, so.
Like
could go just draw
Janet
Blondie.
Van Dyne.
Yeah. Also, I think a lot of bimbos are supposed to be, shall we say, promiscuous.
They can. I wouldn't even say originally they were when that name, because the name literally means like a child, right?
Yeah.
The word, it's an Italian slang. So it really just came from like women who don't have to worry about anything, right? Like maybe they've got like a rich husband or something like that. Maybe her parents were wealthy, so she didn't have to worry about it. So she basically acts like a child. That's why she doesn't have to be smart or whatever.
Yeah.
Over
Well,
time, there's been like a bimbo maxing with that word, where it's kind of like evolved into very, very specific things.
No.
now probably
uh,
sort of a bimbo is Chrissy from Three's Company.
Yeah.
Alpha says
So
it
it means
also
airhead?
means
Yeah. More or less. Typically, revealing clothing has always been associated with bimbos, even if like promiscuity hasn't. But one can lead to the other.
I mean, I plan to have a dumb female character as one of my superheroes, so.
Oh, you mean like dumb bunny dumb?
About as intelligent as about about as intelligent as Goku is.
I mean, Goku's not stupid. The dub makes him seem dumber than he is. Goku's just like naive and really only cares about fighting. But like when you get him on to fighting, like he knows a lot about fighting.
Mm.
And he does have a basic education because Master Roshi did finish like what you would consider like a 7th grade level education now. That Grandpa Gohan started him before he passed away. He made sure that all of his students had at least that level of education, Krillin as well, because it's like you know, the Turtle Hermit way, which is like train hard, eat hard, relax hard. It's like even if you're going to be a fighter, like that's your career, you still got to know the basics. So like Goku could do math. He could probably do basic level of accounting. Levels of math, right? Like he'd probably get lost in tax forms or something. You got to leave that to Chi-Chi, but like he could do all the necessary basic math. He just doesn't care about anything that isn't fighting.
All right. Okay. That's probably a bad example. What's probably a better example?
Well, that's why I was like, do you know the Inferior Five?
No.
Oh, there's a DC team. There's a character in it called Dumb Bunny, who's literally a dumb blonde, who's kind of dressed like a bunny girl, but she's like really strong. That was like the first thing that came to my head.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe I could think of another dumb blonde. Melody Valentine from Josie and the Pussycats is my favorite Archie character.
Yeah.
Who she means well. She always means
Yeah,
well.
I never read any of the Archie stuff because I never had an interest in it.
And she always like quotes proverbs and stuff wrong. She like misquotes them, but like she wants to be seen as like a wise person who has the right thing to say, and because she's such a nice, well-meaning person, everybody always helps her out, and she kind of just fails upwards. Like everything just kind of ends up working out for her.
Yeah, well, it doesn't help that she's, gorgeous too.
Oh yeah, of course.
She's.
Well, I have a female. Well, I have this female. One of my superiors is gonna be a girl who's dumb and also flat chested. So that's
Alpha Proto says he likes
Yeah.
Mihoshi from the Tenchi universe. Yeah, Mihoshi's cool. She's like a space cop, blonde, tan, who does not really want to be doing her job. Like she hates that she has to do this. She'd rather just settle down with a nice man so she could quit.
Also apparently, for Fire Force and Soul Eater are set in the same universe. Like, huh?
Yeah.
Is the moon a smiley face in the Fire Force universe too?
Not until Adola ends up merging with the Earth. It's complicated, but it does happen eventually. Spirit actually showed up for a one-off gag at the bar that he frequents.
Yeah, because I never bothered watching either, and I don't really have an interest in
Oh,
either.
I like both. I enjoyed it. I haven't watched the finale of Fire Force yet. It's like sitting there waiting for me to watch it. But I thought it was great. I saw a lot of people were equally confused as they were when it happened in the manga as it did on the show, where basically to fight the big bad at the very end, three of the main characters performed a soul resonance from Soul Eater, and a lot of the like new fans have never engaged with Soul Eater, so they were like, "What is this new mechanic that came out of nowhere?" I'm like, cool, soul resonance. I was waiting to see if that would ever show up.
It's strange because I thought about cause at one point I thought about having a show about the idea of having a property about people turning to fire monsters as a horror concept.
Well, they kind of treat it as a horror concept in Soul Eater as well. It's just like, it's an action series, so it's a horror for normal people, but the action heroes just have to deal with it.
But because the thing is a lot of concepts become yeah, but that's these kind of they can just kind of gloss over it. Because one thing I want to do with my comics is that the supervillains are horrific from an ordinary person's perspective.
Well,
there's a lot of comics that do that. Maybe they just don't play into the horror. I think that's something Hellboy always did really well, right? Because everything's kind of like quippy and comedic for like Hellboy and his friends, but like for the people dealing with the situation, especially before Hellboy shows up, it's just absolute horror. And the newest movie, which a lot of people were critical of, I thought actually was really good. If it had more budget, maybe the spiders in the woods wouldn't look as cheesy. But personally, for something that's trying to lean into the horror, I think it looking a little cheesy is all right. It kind of adds to the charm. I think it did a really good job of just putting an action hero like Hellboy into a horror situation, because they did frame everything like it was a horror movie.
Yeah,
And
I still
he
haven't
works
seen it.
well in those like limited, because he's supposed to be like a detective style story. Those very limited monster of the week, like I'm just dealing with this one problem thing. They kept trying to jump to like late story, end of the world type stuff every single time they did a Hellboy movie before this. And I like the older ones, but I think you kind of lose some of the affect of Hellboy by doing that. And this most recent movie, I think, captured the spirit a lot better.
Cool.
Uh, it's like also if you kill I want to ask this question, if you was to kill 300, if a villain was to kill 300 people over the course of a couple months in Michigan, how much of a big impact would that leave?
Not a big impact, I guess, proportion to the population, but it would definitely be enough that people would be noticing tracking. Like that's a higher body count than like any serial killer has ever had. Ever.
Okay.
So, like people, it would definitely be a complete menace to society.
Okay, got it.
See, Alpha said Soul Eater didn't capture my interest like I wanted it to. It looked great, but it disappointed me. Did you watch the series or read the manga? Because I don't think the series, as much as I like it, did the manga justice at all. It is even one of those ones that, at a certain point, because it caught up, it swerved off into a different direction. Still got around to like the biggest fight, but the manga actually continues after that fight. There's actually, now that Fire Force is wrapped up, there's rumors that they're going to be redoing Soul Eater properly this time, and I hope they are. That would be exciting. That would be really exciting. I love the Soul Eater manga. He also says, I didn't like the Hellboy makeup in the recent film. I like the look of the two before that one. The last looked like they just painted a guy red. Well, so there's been 3 separate Hellboy series. So I want to make sure we're talking about the right one. There was Guillermo del Toro's 2 Hellboys that he did, which
I've
is
seen both of
Hellboy
those.
and the Golden Army. Then there was the kind of like, I can't
2019
remember the name of
already.
it. Yeah, 'cause they
Hellboy.
just called it Hellboy, right? They didn't have a subtitle.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, and yes, and I
that
didn't
one was
even bother
trying to be
seeing
like
that one.
Infinity War. It was like, why did you jump straight to an Infinity War like story?
But,
That's ridiculous.
Because
That one didn't even look good.
because he wanted the Infinity War money. So,
And then
but they
there was
understand
one very, very recently.
called the Crook Man.
The Crookman, and that one was really good. That one came out in 2024.
Then he says, I watched the anime, and then he says, Fire Force looks really cool. I hope I like that show.
I have a feeling you probably will. Maybe. Well, there might be the Lucky Letcher character who's just that might be a little too much for you. But aside from that, you probably will. That one definitely follows the manga a lot closer. We do live in an age where there's a higher demand, not just from international audiences, but from Japan now has an audience that prefers them to just follow the manga closely, which wasn't necessarily the case in the past. So they'll even put shows on hiatus to let the manga get ahead of it now, so that they don't end up running into coming up with their own fan fiction, more or less. So that one captures the spirit of it a lot closer too. I like Fire Force's adaptation more than I like Soul Eaters, even though I would say I like Soul Eater more as a series. Just because there's more you can do with it. They do a lot with the fire powers. They do a lot with the enemies. They're not all just like these infernals, because you'd run out of creative things to do if you were only ever fighting infernals. They're fighting other people with fire powers and stuff too. But to a degree, it starts to become something like the problem with Green Lantern. It's just they're more creative with the fire powers than just fighting lanterns fighting more lanterns. Soul Eater, they
Dead
just get
Man
to do a
Wonderland was
lot
quite
more.
creative with his blood powers.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But Soul Eater, the main thing is like all the people are pairs, right? You have a weapon meister and their weapon, and people transform into weapons. But because of that, most of the enemies aren't weapon meisters. So you kind of get used to your main teams, but the enemies can be like whatever, right? They're like witches and monsters and stuff like that. So Soul Eater was able to just get like really, really creative with everything that they did. And if you do end up liking that type of storytelling, you should also check out the Gachikita, which is not by the same guy, but Kei Urana, the creator of that, she worked as an assistant to the guy who made Soul Eater and Fire Force for a while. Even considered his apprentice. He's even straight up said that she is like his successor. So the story is grungier, which is weird that you can get grungier than that, but she does a good job of it. Very, very creative with how the power set's used, and is done in a very similar tone and likeness.
Dead Man Wonderland is probably not for Rick here.
Oh, probably not. I like Dead Man Wonderland, but I could definitely see it not being for a lot of the people who come around here.
Yeah.
I didn't like the dub of it though. And that was done before the dub started getting particularly bad. I just didn't care for it. It was one of those cases where I think some of the stuff was just a little too localized, where you lost the meaning of what was being said.
And the anime never really finished the storyline, so.
No, it didn't. But that was also all too common for something that was like came out in 2011. I wasn't really around, I think 2016-ish, that you started getting on the full industry trend of wanting to follow the manga exactly and also trying to push to finish it, right? Now, it was something that came out in, what was it, 2010, I think is when Brotherhood came out. Brotherhood's the one that started the trend, but it didn't really become a full industry.
2009.
It was 2009. I was close. But they started the trend. It didn't become a full industry trend until, one, it completely eclipsed the popularity of the original Full Metal Alchemist adaptation. But several years later, in about 2016-ish, is when like the industry's, yep, that's just how we're going to be doing it now.
I started watching some of the original anime, and it's like, I nowhere near finished it, but I'm like, there's a whole bunch of episodic adventures from the beginning that they just didn't do, like the whole guy who was making like these dolls, or he's turning women into them or something, like mannequins.
Yeah. Because he was trying to recreate his lost love, who he thought passed away, when it turned out that she was actually the old lady who had been assisting him all these years, but she couldn't bring herself to tell him. That was a good storyline. That was a big problem. So they felt like they didn't have to redo a lot of the stuff that they actually covered in the first one before it went off the rails into its own story, because people had already saw that. And I get the mentality behind that for the Brotherhood staff, because you have a limited budget. You have a limited episode count that you were paid for the
Also,
commission.
most of that stuff they cut didn't really matter to the overall plot, so they just cut
Yeah.
it.
But the other problem is now that Brotherhood exists, some people will never watch the original anymore. So there are some like fan like watch orders where they'll include episodes from the original one into the Brotherhood watch order. Just so you include the chapters that got skipped. It's also why I think it's a shame where some of these older series had really bad, or I wouldn't say really bad, but had inaccurate. Now, I think that's probably a better term for it. Adaptations, because very often, same with like when you get really bad dubs, when something exists, a lot of times people won't redo it. They'll just have the excuse to not have to. Which is why I'm like hoping that the rumor that Soul Eater's getting a new one is true. Soul Eater totally deserves the Brotherhood treatment. I've been asking for it for like a decade. Please. Please. Ranma's getting it. I want to see more older series, like beloved series, get that treatment where, like, for the most part, it just follows the manga. Like, I'll complain that they're cutting some things out of order in the new Ranma one, but at least they're eventually getting it. Like the Breaking Point arc should have been in season 2. It's going to be in season 3, but at least they're still getting to the Breaking Point arc.
Yeah, but like I said, I couldn't get through the first episode, so.
But I don't care if you like it or not, right? Like the whole point though is like there's some of these beloved franchises that deserve a redo.
And that's maybe
and it's
what
not just Ranma. Like there's tons of them that deserve it.
Taquito Sauce, me fighting for my life for Dead Man S2 season 2. Do drama need it though? I love the old art stuff.
Ranma absolutely needed it.
Now, about what else do you feel needs it?
Let's see, like Soul Eater was up there. You know what would be a great one? Speed Racer. Mach Go Go Go. The Speed Racer is so old at this point that it's never had a good adaptation. The original, they really took the manga and turned it into like an episodic sort of like race of the week story. Some of the races lasted several chapters in Mach Go 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 instead of just turning into like a new race.
I know they did one for Dororo, which
yeah,
not Durara, Dororo, which is one about
I know what you're talking about. I'm trying to think of some other ones. Well, did that take the charm of the bad animation away? Well, first off, the charm of the bad animation is even still mostly just the dub, and that was because of having trouble matching it. The animation doesn't come off as bad when you're watching it subbed and hearing the Japanese voices.
I know.
Limited old animation, but it's not that bad.
Well, he's Metal just answering Alpha's question in the chat.
Yeah. But the reason Ranma needs it, I'll explain why. Because as everyone knows, I'm a very, very big fan of Ranma. I'm not insulted when people aren't, but it is like my favorite manga. The original series, which I love the art style and animation in that one too. It's great. There's something very nostalgic about it because it was made back when cell animation was still the thing. It's like almost, not quite 50. It's like 47% filler. Like a good chunk of the show never even happened in the manga. And because of that, when they finally just ran out of steam, they never even finished the story of Ranma. Right? It was 47% filler, and they only covered like 62% of the story of Ranma 1/2.
Here, I got a
And even the stuff they did cover, there was a lot of changes to it too. Like Akane's personality completely changed. They make her way more abusive in the original version because it being a slapstick show, they're like, angry woman hurt Ranma, isn't that funny? When Akane is actually a pretty jokesy character herself at times. Like later, we'll see in the remake when Ranma's mom shows up for the first time, and they find out that if she kind of finds out that Ranma isn't a manly man, so the fact that he turns into a girl, she's gonna force them to commit ritual seppuku. They're like trying to hide from her for a good portion of it. She like mimics his mother's voice perfectly behind him, does an impression, and sneaks up on him, and he like almost jumps out of his skin, thinking his mom's behind him, as just like a practical joke. That's kind of the character that Akane is. Yes, Ranma's mom is alive. They even make it to her at the end of the original adaptation. And it's kind of like the last thing they cover is Ranma meeting his mom, and then it just ends. They do some OVA, which get a little bit further. But there's a whole point where they do confront her, and they tell her about the curse and how it's like not even Ranma's fault. And she lets go of the whole like ritual seppuku thing and moves in with them for a while. Like there's a whole arcs that never get covered by the entire series. So like I'm glad they're doing it because it is one that needed it. Even like the series before that, Urusei Yatsura, eventually covered all of its arcs through OVAs and movies. When Ranma got movies, because Ranma was so popular when it came out, as far as Japan goes, it's still the most popular thing that Rumiko Takahashi has ever made. Not the most influential. Urusei Yatsura is more influential, but in manga sales and
wait,
DVD
I'm trying to think.
sales and stuff,
Wait, how does a
outsold all of them.
Ranma movie work? I'm like trying to think.
Well, they could have covered one of the later arcs in a movie, but instead they just made new stories up.
I know they made new stories up. I know obviously they'll do that, but I'm like, well, how would that work? Is it gonna be like one of those? Is this like one of those SpongeBob movies or whatever?
No, they just came up with basically battle shonen story arcs that could have comedy in it. So the first one, I'm trying to remember the name of it. One of them is called Nihao My Concubine. I think that's the second one. And that one, they were all on like a vacation, like on a boat trip with Kuno, because you know his family's rich, they have a boat, but like he doesn't know how to drive the thing, and he is overdoing it, and a storm comes up, and they end up washing ashore onto a deserted island. So they're trying to make it to a beach vacation while the boat's getting fixed and they can get off of it. But during
And not
that
be
time,
stranded like
there's-
Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, it basically is Gilligan's Island. Gilligan's Island where they get attacked by people. So while they're stranded there, this prince who has basically a fountain that's similar to like the Spring of Drowned Boy. Yes, thank you. It's Big Trouble in Nekoron, China. I could not remember the name of the other one. I was remembering the Big Trouble in Little China part to a bit, but I could not remember the full name. And Nihao My Concubine was the other one. They're just standalone adventures that they wrote for those movies.
And of course, Ranma fails to get soaked in the Spring of Drowned Boy.
Yeah. So basically, he uses the spring to turn animals into men. And it's more of like a permanent thing than the hot cold one. And he needs like a queen, like a princess for his little civilization that he made on the back of this moving island. It's like one of those giant turtle island things.
Okay.
And Ranma has to go invade it to save Akane and all the girls. Obviously, part of the joke is that Ranma is too competitive, so he turns into a girl and tries to win the princess contest himself to get in there. Akane wins it. There's like different fights with different people throughout it. They focus on all the characters. Like Moose has a good fight. with shampoo against one of his minions. Ryoga and what's her face? Ukyo have a fight, and Nabiki watches as Kuno has a fight, because that would be funny. And eventually Ranma has a fight with the actual prince. They're about to fall into it while he's saving Akane, and it's the choice. It's like, are you going to let Akane turn into a boy for you to permanently be a boy, or are you going to use the lion's roar, which is a key-based technique he learned earlier in the series, to destroy the spring? Obviously, he destroys the spring. He's not going to let Akane turn into a boy, which is very reminiscent to something that happens at the end of the actual series. So they did pull from it. Alpha saying you might like the movies. The movies are a lot less, I guess, in average, perverted. Like there is in Nihao My Concubine, Ranma being chased as a girl very early on, but that's like the only time that happens in the entire movie. They are just kind of like typical action adventures. I don't know if Fizz would like them, but if you did, you'd probably like them more than the actual series. But they are animated really well, and they do have good action. I wouldn't hold my breath, but you would probably like them more than the whole series.
Yeah, because the main thing is don't find any comedy funny, so I'm just cringing constantly. While I'm watching Ranma.
Other one, the Big Trouble in Necron China, which we did watch these in the watch through in the Discord. I just don't know if you were around for either of them. They were the last things we ended up watching. That one, there was this old scroll about like basically a destiny of two people coming together, and here's the big spoiler: the scroll was just a recipe. Like a marriage needed to happen so they could combine the scroll, and it gave like the perfect recipe for like pickled plum noodles. It's a really, really like anticlimactic joke at the end that subverts the big action leading up to it. I thought it was pretty funny when it happened. But he needs to find a suitor. The leader of the 7 lucky gods needs to find a suitor to have the wedding so they can bring the scrolls together. And there is a character made up for it who has the other scroll or whatever, but the joke is she just keeps getting passed over by everyone. Nobody listens to her or anything. And he just completely ignores her and ends up kidnapping Akane, because of course you need to kidnap Akane for the story to have a plot. So Ranma and crew go to fight the 7 lucky gods to try to stop the wedding and save Akane. And it's kind of like it's almost like a tournament that happens where like Game of Death almost, where to get to the pagoda where the wedding's happening, they have to go through this whole thing and fight each of the 7 lucky gods. 2 of them are a combo fight. They're a set of twins where there's like this giant game of Go that's happening, and as they set their pieces down, giant Go pieces fall down, and Ranma has to try to avoid them to be able to get to the guys and defeat them. But once he gets to them, there's no actual fight, because they can't fight. All they had was the gimmick of the giant Go board. So that was like one of them, but all of them have like some weird gimmick to the fight that he has to do to make it interesting. And there's like this really, really big fight at the end that is mostly solved by another technique that he learned earlier in the series, which is the Dragon Spiral. The Shiryo Hoten Ha, I think is the name of it. I'm trying to remember the name of it. But he uses that one to use the energy of the hot water in the room to defeat the enemy. Really fun action movie. They really leaned into the fact that Ranma is kind of written like a Hong Kong action comedy, very inspired by a lot of like the Jackie Chan flicks and stuff before that. And they leaned into that and just turned them into really big Hong Kong action comedies with original stories. But Main point. None of that actually happened. Unlike Urusei Yatsura, where their movies were all like arcs that happened. Ranma versus the Legendary Phoenix, I don't really call a movie. That one did cover an arc from the manga. That was more like an OVA that was sold with 2 different VHS. It was a double package. Like you got it as one thing, but it's like 2 episodes as an OVA. It's like a direct-to-video movie. But that one I don't think was ever. Maybe it's been in theaters since then, like rescreenings. But that was like direct-to-video.
Well, there's
These
Atomic.
other 2 were in theaters.
There's Atomic Most Done. I think his one hand's a little too big, but hey,
Wow, that's
bro-
a great. That's
better than I
great.
thought it was
by the way.
going to.
That's really good.
Yeah, it's probably the best thing you drew today.
yeah. The thing is, I in some ways I think I know it. I'm better at this cartoony stuff, the superhero stuff. But
Why not just do both? Why not do something like SWAT Cats?
Yeah, or you could do one of your stories stylistically just as a cartoon style, right? Like, and it wouldn't take away from it because, like, you could have like a more realistic or like heroic style version of that character for if it crosses over with other characters. But like, you could just do a cartoon.
yeah, possibly. Yeah, it's just, like, well, I've drawn a bunch of cartoon characters before, and, like tonight, I think, in drawing these 3, I definitely have, it's more cartoony feel that I have. I think somebody said it before. My drawing is, maybe it's been you that said that I'm pretty good at the...
I know several people have had it. I know Todd Mulrooney, in a conversation I've had with him, said that he prefers it when you're working on cartoon characters. That was a long time ago, though.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've heard that name.
Yeah.
Especially that, I think that either of us have talked to him on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure Dillard's probably said the same before, too.
But I'm good. I guess I'm just good with those exaggerated features or something like that. I don't know.
I should bother Todd. I should force him to read the Bodacious Bikini Battle Babes of Brutus Bay after I finish coloring it.
So,
I don't think he's ever read the black and white one.
Yeah. So, with that said, anything you'd like to promote, Metal?
Sure. I'll promote the exact thing that I just said. Let me go get the link to it. I've promoted it several times here, but it could always use some more views.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, I'll go grab the what's it called?
Link?
The Fables one to it, because I get ad revenue for the Fables link.
Yeah. Taquito, to comment to Taquito Sauce from earlier. Whenever you get a camera, I would love to have you on, drawing, talking. Even if you just wanted to come on and talk, if you've got a mic, and probably a set of headphones, it would be great to have you on just that way. To have an input in the conversation, on panel.
There we go. Or if you're particularly bored, you could just follow that back to the creator page, and you could go look at all of my pages on Fables to get me ad revenue. I wouldn't complain about that at all.
No, I actually probably got to set up Fables at some point. I am getting a little bit here and there from Global Comics, 2 or 4 cents at a time. The odd time.
It might increase too for some of us because Global Comics does have a lot of mainstream publishers on it, like DC and Image and stuff. But also, both of them aren't necessarily doing well in sales these days, so they'll attract some readers to the site in general, but not as much. Kodansha just recently got on there too, which is a huge manga publisher, including things like Battle Angel Alita, Ghost in the Shell, Fire Force. They're like a top level publisher, and because they're on, that's going to attract a lot of new customers and viewers to Global Comics in general. They're also doing a publisher sale for like the whole first week that Kodansha came on, where some things are up to 94% off, which you kind of need, because one of the appeals to a lot of this manga are that you could just read the whole series that's finished. Like, you go read all of Ghost in the Shell, but it would be really expensive to buy all of Ghost in the Shell. So having like this 94% off publisher sale means you could probably just go and get all of it at once. That'll attract a lot of new readers right away. So hopefully there'll be some spillover to us indie creators and stuff, just having more users on the network in general.
Yeah, for sure. I've had some people buy. I just got to start getting some more stuff that I can put up there, either for sale or just thing. Actually, I'm not sure whether anybody be interested. I've actually thought of doing another Bible thing that I don't think anybody's ever done, is making the Proverbs into a cartoon, well, comic book.
Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah. Because that would have been a good like Sunday strip format. Just take a proverb and make a strip out of it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking of. Just do like usually a 2 or 3 panel one, and just try and
Yeah, let's
or on page or something.
Global Comics real quick. I dropped yours. About to drop mine.
Yeah. Is it lesser known? Well, Proverbs, the book is not lesser known.
Lesser done. Right? Like nobody actually adapts Proverbs directly. They'll be in things, but nobody's done, like, I think, a direct adaptation of each proverb. So that is a cool idea. I'm totally behind this.
Like, I've started scripting it. Well, not scripting it out, but I got up to, like, I think chapter 6 or 7. I got to go in, and I'm, breaking up. This is strip this, strip that, strip this. There's a few spots that I've jumped over that I don't think would be good for a strip or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, like a Family Circus style. I think that's kind of what he's thinking. Because like some of them might be good in multi-panel strips. Some of them might be good in like a single illustration.
Yeah. Like I want to, like I said, I want to break it down for which ones I think would be good for strips, and then I'm going to go and panel them. You still there?
Rick, I might say that this might be in your top 10 best ideas.
Oh, okay.
No, I really see, like, especially if bringing people to your other stuff too. Like, I could see this being a very fruitful endeavor.
Yeah. Like, it's just something I thought of. Again, it's in the vein of the lesser known Bible stories, as far as I'm concerned, because, as you said, not too many people have adapted Proverbs into a comic book.
Yeah. I think you could even reuse it too, multiple. Because like how you have how I gave you the idea for the Piper's Pulpit in the back. If you're looking for like more filler, you could just put like a single one of the strips in the back of your comics next to it and stuff sometimes.
Yeah. I don't know what I could. I don't think I do. I'm not sure whether I'd call it Proverbs or what I'd call it as a comic. Alpha says it kind of reminds me of what Mike S. Miller did with the New Testament. Yeah, his Afar book sold like crazy. Yeah, I just not, like I said, I'm not sure exactly what I'd want to call the series or whatever. Bible Proverbs. I guess I could just call Bible Proverbs. Does that? What
Well, you have time to
anybody?
think about it.
Yeah. So it's like it's not like I said an idea that I came up with, and I've started playing with it.
If it was me, I would do the whole thing on like mock chalkboard, right? Like a blackboard with a black and white, and it would do like like cross hatching and stuff. And then I would
Yeah.
call the book "Chock full of Proverbs."
Chock full of proverbs. Yeah, so I'm not sure when I'm gonna start that. I gotta probably go and take some more time. Like there's 31 proverbs. Like or chapter 31 chapters. Like I said, I think I'm up to chapter 6 or chapter 5. Yeah, he says
Yeah,
it
it
could
could literally.
be an illustration with the proverb at the bottom. Yeah, it's like here. Let me bring it up quick.
Yeah, tons of cartoons were just done that way. Actually, it was the most common way to do a cartoon early on before like speech bubbles were involved. In fact, the speech bubble had to kind of be invented, and even very early, like sometimes if people were talking, it would be like script format underneath the illustration, right? Because people they didn't know how to include text into the panel. Like that's something that people had to like work through and discover over time. And it's not like that format ever fully went away, but that's how like almost everything was done at first.
Yeah. Jeez, I don't even know what I called this.
Basically, every Adams Family comic too in the New Yorker was done with that caption style underneath.
I started this, but I don't even know what I called it, so I don't even know how to look it up easy. Good love that.
Rick. You gotta be more organized, man.
I just gotta search through this thing. Oh, I don't know why. Maybe I typed it in wrong. Proverbs cartoon strip. Well, I actually started doing it for Proverbs chapter 1, verse 8 through 9. Panel 1, I've got listen, my son, to your father's instructions. Panel 2, do not forsake your mother's teaching. Panel 3, they are a garland to grace your head and a chain to adorn your neck. So, you'd have some kid or whatever, some son listening to his father, and 1, and then 2, then you show him mom teaching him something somehow. And then the 3rd one, you just show him with part of their words, I guess, as a garland on his head and a chain adorning his neck.
Yeah. The obvious title, like if you went too simple, would be to put the word comic in a different font so from the rest of the title. So it would be like the Book of Proverbs, but it would be the comic Book of Proverbs. Like you're just wedging the word comic in there.
Yeah. Oh, if it says, they are pretty short sayings. There's actually some that are a lot longer. But,
yeah. But he said for the most part, so I don't think he's discrediting that.
Yeah. Like, at first I started doing like, panel 1, panel 2, and then I'm like, okay, let's just break this stuff up, get it.
Yeah, but like a lot of it would probably be better to just do like single illustrations. But then there's definitely some that you're gonna have to do like a fairly decent strip for.
Yeah, like I broke. Where is it? Oh, I have gotten to chapter 5, and I finished chapter 5, and with chapters 1 through 5, I've broken that up so far into 27 strips.
Yeah.
So. Example, using the same son, father, and mother. Yeah.
Yeah,
It helped.
like if you ever watch Bill Nye the Science Guy, because they would have a limited budget, so they'd reuse a lot of the same cast. You'd have like the family with the father, son, and the father, mother, and Richie. I think the because you usually call him mom and dad. Richie was the only one that had a name. It's like, Richie, eat your crust. Like you would just be using the same family for different things.
Oh, so every time it says father, mother, son, use the same.
The exact same one. Yeah.
Or the same.
Like an acting troupe.
Like same person look or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Same character model. Yeah.
It'd be like if you used which you want to use them because that's the family circus and there's copyright, but like if every single time it was saying father, son, mother, you just used the ones from Family Circus. Like that equivalent.
Yeah. But yeah, it's something that I want to do. Like I said, I got 5 out of 31.
You could also
so
you can create model
more.
sheets for those characters too, so you don't even have to remember or keep track.
Yeah.
And if you have to add like another character to the family, you just add them to the model sheet. Like, oh, there's 2 brothers now.
Yeah. Alpha says it will have the reader identify with the character more. Yeah. Or continuously know when you say father, mother, whatever.
Yeah, they immediately identify the story.
Yeah, or who the character is supposed to be. Yeah, and I could do, if I did it in like a book or something like that, eventually I could have, I have at the top father, mother, or son, kid, or whatever, son. But yeah, I don't know why I decided just to say that off the cuff. That idea.
Yeah, because that extended your closing to the show a lot, probably further than you wanted.
Yeah. But yeah, it's something. Well, another thing, it's another biblical thing that I'm slowly working on, but I'm not sure who would be interested in that. Well, I guess maybe I'm thinking the cartoony feel I could give it.
Yeah,
and I was thinking
it'd be easy for you to do yourself.
Yeah. And actually, something else that I want to do, I thought of this. Creating a chick-style track of a Canadian Shield. Well,
Rick tracks?
Yeah, cross tracks.
Oh, yeah, you could do that. I'm going to call them Rick tracks, though, because they sound like chick tracks.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to be my unofficial name for them.
Alpha says it's a good idea. Proverbs and Psalms are full of wisdom. People have quoted from them for centuries. Yeah. And I think that's it. I don't know what got me to think of the idea of putting Proverbs in, converting it, I think I'm not sure whether it was at work or where it was. It was just. So yeah, and I'm also working on a scripts for those things for the Canadian Shield first, but cross track, making about as thick as one of those, and I don't know, just it's gonna be just like an introduction to him or whatever, or the characters or whatever.
Yeah.
Sort of like my Ash can, but just something different. uh, Having a visual help readers remember them. Yeah, for the proverbs. Yeah, for sure. Anyways, is Fitzchozo still here? No. I know he'd say he doesn't have anything, but I ask anyways, right? So.
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks Metal for coming on. Thanks Fitzchozo if you're still going. Yeah, we're just about to end. I got on a bit of a tangent.
Yeah, follow both of us on Global Comics.
Yeah.
I think we're both trying to grow that platform too. It's got the best comic reader as well out of like any site. So if you aren't already on Global Comics, you should be on there.
Yeah, and that's like another thing. If I can do these small little strips, it's something to put up and give away for free.
Mm-hmm.
What was that section of the Rocky and Bullwinkle show with the moral?
I don't remember the name of it. I know what he's talking about.
I don't. I remember the He-Man section with the moral, or G.I. Joe. But yeah, anyways, thanks to Fitzchozo coming. Thanks to everybody in the chat for coming by. It was great having everybody here. We'll catch you all later. I will be back tomorrow for the Silhouette game. I've still got like 8 characters to put in. So...
Aesop and Son, I think was one of the sections. And Fractured Fairy Tales.
So catch you all later, people. We'll see you tomorrow for the Silhouette game. So bye for now. God bless. Love you all. Have a great and wonderful day.